Oh, it's a romantic comedy. When I heard Seth Rogen was involved in a project people were calling Longshot, I assumed it had to do with the chances of getting a Green Hornet sequel. You know, the real long shot is me actually enjoying a Seth Rogen film, but bear with me. Hey, listen, I call it a long shot, but not an impossibility, and that has a lot to do with the fact that out of all the Seth Rogen movies I've reviewed on this channel, I've recommended all but one. Now, maybe that has to do with the fact that I've never reviewed Guilt Trip or Observe and Report, or maybe I should just admit he makes the occasional good, maybe even great movie. Especially when Rogen works with other good actors. Yeah, I said it, other good actors. Because when Rogen works within an ensemble, he actually really knows how to contribute to something bigger. How to kind of, in a sense, put his ego aside and not be the biggest thing out there to make the project better. But when it's he and just a partner, things can be a little bit different. But as much as I'm hesitant about Rogen and one other person leading a film, the last time I reviewed a Rogen film where he and a partner worked together was in the pre-HD world of 2011 and Real School's review of 50/50 with everybody's man crush, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and the director of that movie, Jonathan Levine. Yes, Rogen and Levine team up for the third time, but that also brings up concerns when it really should just kind of reinforce what you're going to see, because the last time they collaborated, it was the lump of coal the night before. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, what were you thinking? But the fact is, Levine's career, it's been kind of 50-50. You know, listen, this whole thing is just full of dad jokes, okay? I'm sorry. See, Levine directed the severely underrated Warm Bodies, but then again, his last film was Snatched. If you haven't seen those movies, well, one of them is about the brainless undead kind of stumbling through a somewhat comedic adventure, and the other is Warm Bodies. Okay, that was a good dad joke. What I feel was missing from Levine's failures was heart, at least believable heart. Not that schmaltzy try to force some emotion on you during an otherwise pretty inane comedy, but true heart. Because the man can actually make you feel something when he wants to. And I'm happy to say that Longshot surprisingly makes you feel something. It has a lot of heart, like a surprising amount. And that goes back to what I was saying about Rogen needing a good partner or a good ensemble to bounce off of. Levine is the same way. He needs a great relationship to latch onto. And it's no surprise that Charlize Theron gives this film, gives her director and gives her co-star a lot to work with. The two of them, Rogen and Theron, have tremendous chemistry. I say it isn't a surprise because Theron did this before. Anyone who can make A Million Ways to Die in the West somewhat enjoyable is doing something right. O'Shea Jackson Jr. has the perfect line within the film where he calls it Pretty Woman, but in reverse, where Charlize Theron is trying to glam up Seth Rogen. And you know what? It works. And I don't just mean the scheme within the film. The film itself, the concept, even though it might be slightly repetitive, completely works. But let's face it, if an incredibly powerful, incredibly attractive woman actually fell in love with Seth Rogen in real life, we'd still believe it. You know why we'd believe it? Because guys like me have been married to insanely attractive, powerful women for centuries. As much as I could go on and on about Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen's chemistry, I don't want to talk about it too much because as much as it drives the film, this was a solid cast. And I think they deserve a little attention too. Because it goes back to how Seth Rogen has been successful in some more prestigious films, shall we say, because these comedians, this whole team, realizes they're a part of something bigger. They realize that they're a part of something special, and nobody really tries to steal the show. Now, granted, that doesn't make for the most memorable co-stars or smaller parts, but the fact is everybody puts their ego aside, and I love watching movies like that because nobody tries to steal the show. Same goes for O'Shea Jackson Jr. He was fantastic, but he was really much better as part of an ensemble. Just like his dad, he's a great team player. What? When did that happen? There were a couple characters, though, who just couldn't help themselves. Even though I keep calling this a Seth Rogen movie, it's not really a Seth Rogen movie. It's a bit more mature, it's a bit more political, and with Charlize Theron playing a presidential candidate, it's actually a bit more satirical, which is something you don't necessarily get from a lot of Seth Rogen movies that aren't actually Seth Rogen movies. Bob Odenkirk plays President Chambers, a not-so-bright actor turned president who just overlooks women, or at least looks at them for the wrong reason. And Alexander Skarsgård plays a Canadian Prime Minister with a great head of hair who can't help but look at women. Wait, they were making fun of Canadians? We can't handle that. That's why we're always nice to people. But poking fun at Trudeau and that other T-word, that works on two different levels, is actually indicative of some of the issues that Long Shot has. They play it safe. That satire seems like it would have been much more effective 3 or 4 years ago, and while some of the jokes are really great, others play it tremendously safe, especially, like I've mentioned before, for a Seth Rogen movie that's not really a Seth Rogen movie. And that safety shows up a lot throughout the film because it's also very formulaic. But of course, Seth Rogen is still in this movie, so you should expect sex, masturbation, and drug references. Which, yes, sadly means that's more predictability. But what's unpredictable is how much I actually enjoyed this movie. Insert dad joke about how much of a long shot that would be. But the fact is, Long Shot did defy the odds, at least with this audience member. Yes, it plays it safe. Yes, it seems like you've seen the love story before, but I actually laughed out loud a lot. Not only that, but it has some tremendous heart, it's got some clever touches, and a love story that surprisingly you can get behind. And with all of that, that makes it and earn it. Want a chance at winning an official Long Shot jacket? Well, all you have to do is leave a comment in the comment section below about what your favorite romantic comedy is, be a subscriber, and share this video on the soch using the hashtag RealSchoolLongShot. Winner will be announced when the movie opens up on May 3rd. But until then, and until next time, school's out. Hey Real students, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe to Real School, click that round Real School logo right beside me. Also click that damn notification bell so you're aware of all of Real School's new content. You can follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link in the description below or the button down there, and you can become part of my Patreon team.